We're going to call to order this meeting of the Plain Township Board of Trustees. If everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before us we have our agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections by fellow board members or department heads at this time? Seeing none, the agenda will stand as presented. First item, jumping right to the fiscal officer's report. Tom?
Thank you. Fiscal officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in the amount of $685,188.35.
So moved. Second. Discussion. Most of that's just the final paving cost from North Star,
which is finished.
Yeah. No further discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 3 is a resolution to authorize payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 4 is the bank reconciliation.
So moved. Oh, wait,
Yeah, we
sorry.
don't even need that. Just we all do that.
I know, look, I was moving.
Okay. Next item.
Fiscal officer number 5 is a resolution to authorize the following transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 6 is a resolution to authorize the Plain Township fiscal officer to enter into the attached agreement with the Ohio Auditor of State of 6,000 Frank Avenue Northwest Conference Center, Suite 154, North Canton, Ohio 44720, to contract their professional services and satisfy the township's audit requirements for the combined financial statements as of and for the years 2019 and 2020s, and single audit for the schedule of expenditures of federal awards, and to authorize payment of up to $18,245 to Ohio Auditor of State to be taken from Fund 01A19.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 7 is the investment report.
Still our interest rate still as always.
Yeah.
Still low yet.
Okay.
Fiscal officer number 8 is a resolution to authorize a refund as follows for overpayments for EMS as requested by Ohio Billing.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 9 is a resolution to set records commission meeting for the next trustee meeting at 5:45 p.m. on September 14, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, everybody is welcome to attend. The required attendance is Mr. Haas, myself, and Mr. Wood, but anybody is welcome to attend.
Again, this is just strictly for our ability to purge
Yes.
certain records based upon the longevity, based upon the Ohio Historical Preservation Society requires for
Something like that. Yeah.
documents. So, okay. No further discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
That concludes the fiscal officer report.
Thank you, Tom. It's going to take us to the administrator, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution to authorize and approve payment for 2 2022 Explorer Interceptors. Those are the sheriff cruisers from Wickham Auto Family at a cost of $36,506 each, plus 30-day tags at a cost of $20 each from the sheriff's fund.
So moved.
I'll second for discussion.
The discussion is a follow-up. I know, Ryan, you provided the updated report, so I think there were 3 I saw that were over 100,000 miles. Are these
2 of these will go towards replacing.
Yeah, actually, well, finally, and the board has worked tirelessly to update the fleet. We can get rid of the last Crown Vic, believe it or not.
Sweet baby.
It's been a long road of the effort of the board to make this a priority to get a good fleet together. So we'll move one of these as a spare, not the new ones, but we'll be able to get rid of the last Crown Vic, have a different spare. And beyond that, mileage looked decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, the fleet's in really good condition. We're a
Yeah.
little sad to see the last Crown Victoria go, because they just don't make them look like that anymore. That thing's
Gosh,
a
we'll
tank.
put it on Gov Deals, and if you'd like, I bet for $1.50 you could get it. Yes.
What do you think the turnaround on that is?
It's in the
They're
next
probably
year.
a long way out.
Yeah,
I
we
would
can-
think.
That's why we
That's why-
decided to do the resolution now,
Yeah.
because had we waited, we could be even
Well, lead
further
time
out.
plus price increases
Yeah.
due to
Well,
supply
the price
chain.
increase, we're good now, but the price increase is coming, so we thought, let's get in good shape for next year.
Yeah, we got some numbers just ordering some of the county cars. It may be 6 to 7 months till we see these cars, so.
Yeah. But we're in line,
We used to be able to get a fire truck in that amount of time.
yeah, yeah. We used to have like a 30-day turnaround, but at least we're in line. Our fleet is in good shape, and the last Crown Vic, normally we'd give it to chief and the firefighters could, practice extraction techniques, but it seems like our captain has a soft spot for it, so.
Yeah.
Gov Deals, $1.50 is yours.
Chief can have it.
I have a feeling your wife would not be a happy camper.
No. But it's such an antique, you could put it in a car show, so.
Yeah.
I am very appreciative to the board, though, has made getting that fleet and the residents for supporting levies to get that fleet in the good shape that it's in now, so thank you.
Just given the fact, for some context for our residents that are in attendance with us, when I joined 2010, we literally had a couple cruisers where zip ties for piece parts. I mean,
Yes.
you wouldn't get in these things yourselves, let alone for us to expect our officers to, pursue people and that type of equipment. It was a hazard more ways than one. So it's definitely taken a good effort, but now with maintenance and the rotation, and part of that challenge too was prior administrator purchased a large volume of cruisers all at once, and like anything mechanical, they all
All at once, 10
we're out.
vehicles.
So even
Yeah.
though it looks like, oh God, they're buying 2 cruisers this year too, it's just a good life cycle replacement, so we're not getting hit with, what could be a $400,000 or $500,000 bill for replacing a number of them all at once. So,
Yeah.
okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is in regards to the township appointments to the District 19 Public Works Integrating Committee. We don't need a resolution because the appointments are easy. You have to appoint 2 members and 2 alternates, and there are only 2 members and 2 alternates who have applied for the positions.
The board still needs to approve this.
Yes, so it will be the vote for member Ralph Chera, alternate Craig Chesler, member Doug Baum, and alternate Paul Mosberger, and then I can fill that in and send for the board.
Yeah. In short, the County Township Association's had conversations with all of those individuals, and they're willing to still
Serve.
stay in those capacities. I don't think it's a high demand, but
No, it is nice to have repeat people in there because it's about $8 million in public works funding, and they get to know how that works and be there for the townships, so that is good.
yeah.
So, yeah, so, he's gonna be there for 4 years, and right now Ralph's there for 2
Yeah,
years, so.
I think that is, it's good on the behalf of the townships to have somebody in experience in that. So then I'll get that off for the board.
Okay.
All right?
They're serving at least 2 more years in
Yeah.
that group, so.
Yeah. All right, and that's the end of the administrator report.
It's gonna take us to the fire department. Chuck?
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to place an advertisement for bids for construction of an addition at the fire building at 2855 Easton Street in a newspaper published in Stark County of general circulation on August 26th.
Also move.
Second.
Discussion. Has the engineer revised his estimate, so we're not going down this road again in a month or two, because if so, he can eat all of the entire expense of
Rebidding.
rebidding, because this should have never happened, and I know you went to great measure to push it with him, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah, they're gonna raise the or the estimate to about $312,000, which would be close to the one bid that we got.
That's
and then-
10%, right?
Yeah, you gotta be within 10%.
So it's 30 grand.
Yeah, so it gives a little bit of leeway
Yeah.
up, and then some of the middle bidders would be, if they keep the same price, would be right in that range.
I think we'll see more bidders this time because of the change in the estimate.
And again, I think just for the public's benefit, typically what happens on these projects, the engineers and so forth were providing us, well, in this situation, they were guessing at like, what, 250,000, Chuck? And Chuck was like, no, I really think it should be somewhere between 3.25. Well, these bids come back, the lowest bid was 313, and then the high one was almost $100,000 higher than two others. Well, because it was in excess of 10% of that 250, we had to reject every bid for that sake, so.
And in a measure to save some costs, we did, we're gonna have to extend the project deadline because there's no way we can be under roof by winter. So to hopefully get lower prices, we moved the completion date to July 15th. Or, that way they can start after the winter season, we need the building the most, parks and fire, the house, our equipment, and maintenance. So that way they'll start in March, hopefully, and be complete by July. And we think we get better prices too
Yeah.
by, waiting it out.
Material costs, still
Yeah.
coming down on some of that stuff. Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 2 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees that Alexandria Brown, Seth Falcone, and Cody Schaefer have completed their fire examinations and background checks and to be hired on August 25th at $700.
So moved.
Second, Brooke, discussion. I just want to call out, this is monumental from the
Yes,
aspect,
it
this
is.
will be the first female on this
Part-
fire. Yeah,
Part-time.
yeah, but
But still.
part-time or full,
Yeah.
it's the first within the department, so. And Chuck, from what you were saying, physical fitness, was every bit on par with, if not more advanced than some of the other individuals, so.
Yeah, I mean, we have the same standards for men and women, so, met everything, and all 3 candidates are good, and as we were talking earlier, it's hard to find workers, right now, so getting qualified ones that can do all that is good to have, so.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the approval for payment to Stryker Medical for 2 LifePak 15 heart monitors with accessories and a preventive maintenance agreement not to exceed $60,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you, that concludes the fire department.
It's going to take us to the zoning department. Tom?
Thank you, sir. Item number 1 is a resolution to declare item A as a nuisance abatement.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And item number 2 is a resolution to declare item A through C as nuisance abatement payments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution to renew the attached service agreement with iWork Systems in the amount not to exceed $8,305 and to authorize payment to be made from Fund 13A03A.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Just out of curiosity, how many years have we had this? Now, because we were using it just as you were moving into the position.
We got it just after I moved in.
Mhm.
It was mid-2015 when we got it.
It's such a good system.
7 years, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Going on 8.
it's a significant.
It's working very good.
It's allowed the zoning office to be available online
Yeah.
with,
Well, and have a single system
One
instead of
system
multiple
instead of
repositories.
four.
And
yes,
And one platform instead of 3 or 4
Yeah.
different.
yeah.
no further discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And that's all for zoning.
Thanks, Tom. Parks Department, Rob.
Thank you. One resolution to pay Steve Norris $2 per referee assignment for the Parks soccer program from Fund 14A01B. Further resolves such payment will be in addition to the payment received for other work already done for the parks.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion, just for the record to clarify, this is because of some grad school efforts from the individual who typically handles it. This is not a increase in cost, it's just a matter of somebody different being paid.
It's allowing the flexibility to two qualified people to make sure we have referees on the field for games. And it sets us apart from virtually every other league in Northeast Ohio because we can guarantee referees.
No further discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, it's gonna take us to communications, for which we have the State Route 43 Mount Pleasant Street intersection safety project. So for anybody who's not familiar, that's north, just south of Mount Pleasant, north of Diamond, where the market in 43, Y off. Joe, because it's probably been a year and a half, and we've already given some preliminary feedback on this, because they had come to us with some different options, and what's proposed is what collectively was felt to be the best solution. So what we need to make sure we're doing is, because it's gonna be done virtually as compared to the in-person like we had when the 62 realignment was done, really push this whole virtual house. So our website, our social media, and so forth, because I'd like to think we've given it a lot of good thought, but clearly there may be elements that, elements that we haven't thought about, or we just, answer.
And it's all pre-recorded, but we'll want to have our departments, trustees watch, and they want all comments by October 4th. So we'll just be cognizant, beginning September 4th, you can go online and watch. If somebody doesn't have internet access, they can request a transcript. But just all comments, so we'll want to get together, Joe, and figure out what kind of comments from the board if we need to submit any.
Project we've been looking at for
Probably
10 plus years, and I'm glad to finally see it getting underway. Construction that's slated for late 22 or 23.
22, 23.
How long have you worked on that, Joe, this
At
project?
least 10 years.
Like
Finally
you
got
said.
somebody to listen to us.
Yeah,
from
you
those,
did, yeah.
Well, I mean, not that we haven't had not had street credibility with it on District 4, but, I know in my tenure here, I think where we really shined was on the 62 realignment. And, they had atrocious plan options, and we didn't just go, hey, these are all horrible for X. We come back and said, why, here's the alternatives. And they ultimately come up with the alternative plan based upon our recommendations, and for us to get, we probably got about 85–90% of what we asked for.
Yes.
That's like winning the lottery. 'cause
That was a
typically they're-
very good collaboration.
And that's the next 2 years also, that project.
So I think, as a level of credibility, I help maybe expedite this to.
I would agree that these last 2 projects, when we looked them over and, just kind of came up with, what we believe to be were a little better solutions.
I think they liked the fact that we were so involved, you know what I mean?
It gave detailed
Gave
suggestions
a lot
on
of-
alternatives.
Perfect. Nothing else on communications? It's going to bring us to the portion of the meeting, public speaks. If there's anybody in the audience that wishes to address the Board of Trustees, we'd ask you to state your name and address for the record. Anybody wish to address the board? So what brings you out tonight? Just interested to see what's going on in local government, or?
I've been to several of these meetings before. I was just always concerned because I had went down to the road, I guess you're what is it, the road department around here?
Mhm.
And I was just looking for a little bit more diversity in a lot of the different areas, because I've been living in the Plain Township for about 30 years, raised a family here. And I just always wondered why I never saw more diversity in different parts, even when I'm looking at construction, which is not part of you guys. In Canton, you see a lot of it, it's not a lot of us in the different areas. And I do hear that we're not applying for these positions, they can't find these people. And I just wanted to, I'm just thinking of what can we do to introduce different groups of people to the jobs that are available that they may not know are available. So I've been to these meetings before, I've enjoyed them, I think the professionalism is awesome. I follow this. I'm really excited how the police, the fire department, they always get so much, and the fire department looks really nice. You know, when I drive down Snyder, Snyder, where they
Easton.
yeah. And, no, it's one right across from Glen Oak High School.
Yeah.
That fire department, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
that's
really
on
nice.
Schneider.
I like the way that looks, but I'm just basically here to observe and maybe, meet with the school or, and see if they can maybe establish a liaison or a person who can help the young people know
I'll
what's
tell you one
out
of our
there.
most difficult is, I mean, a lot of these jobs, they get posted out across the state. And it's a combination of what you spoke to. We don't get the applicants, so, of the applicants that we do get, Chuck could go off on all the different testing requirements. It's all objectively scored to where, and it's documented along with, it's just getting folks,
To
the next
apply.
big, apply one, to then be able to make it through like the physical fitness assessments, the background checks, because clearly, there's certain things that get flushed out in background checks where I'm not in good faith ever gonna hire somebody that, compromises the integrity when they're coming in to your residence or that of a loved one.
Well,
So
then we're
there's
competing with
there's
the other
certainly
fire
challenges.
stations at the
Yeah.
same time.
But I will say the closest we've been able to push it, and granted it's been on a short term, was when we built the central station, because, I mean, as much as Lou, I disagreed on the whole PLA thing, there were certain standards in there that they were able to push, through the contractors, that, hey, you had to have, X percentages of these different minorities, so it was pretty close, but even on that PLA, I think there was still some, we're not sure if we're gonna be able to totally fill this, so,
We just had a park position open for a year. It took us a year to find somebody to even apply and then take the position. So,
I mean, we
But
just
the fire,
hired our first female
yeah,
fire
first
department
female firefighter
advertiser
tonight.
And that's, that's very impressive. As a matter of fact, when I'm in Canton, I see a lot of the construction people, it's a lot of females and a lot of males, but it's not a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
I applied for a firefighter's position many moons ago, I'm way up there in age, and in Evanston, Illinois. And I passed the agility test, scared as ever to climb to the top. I was with my eyes closed, didn't feel anything, came back down because it was. And then I passed the agility test, passed the exam test, and told that I didn't make it into it. I moved to Ohio, employment, and received a letter saying they've been sued, and I'm part of a lawsuit. Like, what kind of lawsuit? I didn't do anything, I haven't sued anyone. And they said because they had falsified and said that the people who they say didn't pass the exam did pass the exam, and we received a settlement. So yeah, it's a lot of things like that that I looked at, and I was like, I had no idea I didn't. I did pass, I thought I did very well on it, and I knew I passed agility, but Evanston, Illinois, gosh, it was maybe about 1985, 86 or something like that, they had to sue Evanston, the city of Evanston for that. They found out that the people who they said failed the exam had actually passed the exam. So I probably wouldn't have been in Ohio, I probably would have still been in Illinois. But those are the kind of situations that, make a broader picture, but I do truly understand what you guys are going through, because when you're looking for applicants, you're looking for the most experienced and most precise and clean background. just like you said. So we don't just want anyone placed in any position, they should be more than qualified. So sometimes I just look around and say, how can we get different groups of people to know about these positions, to apply for these positions, and if they're qualified, to be hired for them. That's pretty much it.
Well, appreciate the interest, because honestly, if you look at the socioeconomic diversity of Plain Township across our county, I'd be willing to bet a big chunk of money that we're probably the most diverse from a socioeconomic, you take a look at the combination of the races within the community and so forth, but then, I mean, on the economic front, I mean, we've definitely got some financially challenged areas, and we've got some very affluent, and there's a good, so.
I agree 100% with you, because I did do that little check, and Plain Township offers so much more to the diverse groups of population. I would never say anything against Plain Township. All of our children went through Glen Oak High School. It was just a great experience, where now they're in college, talking about how Glen Oak so prepared them for their college education, master's degrees, and I have friends that say the same thing. And the diversity here in Plain Township is the best area to live in. And that's why I stay here. And, but I do agree with what you just said, and that's a fact. So that's basically all I
And
wanted to say.
if you come up with any solutions or ideas, we are open to them. So
We don't
don't
like-
hesitate.
That's a whole different arena.
We don't claim to have all the
Yeah, we don't-
answers, we
yeah.
typically cover our bases pretty good, but, you know, there's something that's floating out there, we're certainly open to, you know, listening to it and trying to vet it out, so.
We love new ideas. We love
And I
people's
appreciate the
perspectives.
openness too, and the willingness. And I didn't really come to talk.
I'm glad you shared that.
Well,
That's good.
we don't get too many guests in here, so typically
Well,
if somebody comes in,
it's here.
there's gotta be something, so try to draw it out.
You knew that something was on my mind. For you. Thank you guys, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you guys have anything, or you're good this year?
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you. It was hot, we didn't have anything to do.
Hey, we heard you got work there.
Right before dinner. Exactly.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for coming out tonight, likewise. That'll conclude public speaks. Concerns of trustees, I know there was nothing noted. Just a reminder though, the Stark County Engineers meeting September 9th over at Central Station. Thank you, Chuck, for helping make that space available on short notice. And then we should be picking back up our monthly County Township Association meeting. We ran into a little obstacle that our original sponsor and program hosted, Perry, has declined, so the county auditor is working on trying to find a venue and a sponsor for that. And of course, the topic's going to be a hot one with property reevaluation. So that will come out as soon as we have something, but just a reminder on the county engineer one.
What time is that?
On the 9th, I think it's a, give me a minute here.
I want to say 6.
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
I want to say 6.
Yeah,
It'll be
it is.
cooler than tonight. It'll warm.
Yeah.
Was the air on there?
Okay.
Feel free to turn it on.
Okay. Any other concerns of fiscal office?
No concerns.
Okay. It's going to take us to the approval of the minutes for August 10th, 2021, and I will so move. Second, Brooke. I started to hear a little more.
Yeah, it's okay.
So, discussion,
Yeah,
it's Brooke, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
We do have a need for executive session, so I'm going to make a motion be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn to executive session at 6:29 p.m. from this regular meeting is authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose of consideration of 3, a conference with the law director or other retained counsel concerning pending or imminent court action.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.